Stinky Steve, Book 2, A Minecraft Superhero by P.T. Evans. Chapter 1, Making a Superhero. Having an uncontrollable gas definitely has its advantages. Sure, I smell worse than a zombie pigman eating a spoiled pork chop on a hot day, but on the flip side, I outsmarted a coven of witches, escaping their hut without a scratch. Not to mention outmaneuvering the slime. I'm going to be the first Minecraft superhero. Look out, Hero Brian. I'm coming for you. Last time I was in the villagers chased me out and threw their inventory at me as I brought my stink there. This time it's going to be different. Goodbye, Stinky Steve. Hello, Super Steve. My first priority is to make a cool costume. The smell doesn't bother me. I almost kind of enjoy it now, but if I'm going to stop crime, I need to figure out a way to contain the stink. The iron leggings didn't work, so what else could I try? I go through my skins and switch to the gas mask soldier. I wish I had a mirror because I'm pretty sure I looked awesome in full-on camo. The suit was originally designed to protect me from the outside, but now I'm wearing it to protect the outside from me. Perfect. Throwing the costume on my bed, I head over to the crafting table. If I'm going to be an actual superhero, I'll need some super gadgets. Anyone lucky enough to be saved by Super Steve will need his or her own gas mask. I grab 3 iron ingots, 2 glass blocks, and a lever. Then I head to the enchantment table to enchant it with respiration. Awesome. I take a glass bottle, some nether wart, glistering melon, and glowstone dust from my inventory. I tuck the healing potion to my back along with some string, flint, and steel. Farts are flammable. I also pack an extra pair of pants. You never know when an accident could happen. It's time to go on the offensive. As soon as I eat the first handful of beans, I feel my stomach churn as the gas starts to brew. I grab a half a dozen glass containers and I fill them up with the stinkiest farts I can muster. The smell of rotten eggs passes through the house and my chickens squawk with an intense stench. I add 6 newly made fart bombs to the backpack and I wonder if I'm the first person in Minecraft to brew my own fart potions. No wonder those witches wanted me so badly. I realize if I'm going to build bigger gadgets, I'm going to need more space. I'm going to need some transportation too. And I don't mean a minecart. I head outside and dig my own bat cave, more like a stink cave. The cave ends up being larger than my house. It's the perfect place to test weapons, make gadgets, and build vehicles. Now it's time for some killer transportation. Who needs powered rails for their minecart when you got fart power? I cut out an area of the back of the minecart, stick my butt out the hole, and prepare a giant fart. I squeeze with all my might to create enough energy to propel the cart, but instead of moving forward, my body shoots in the air like a rocket. I don't know how to slow down and end up smashing head first into the ceiling of the cave. I can fly! I land on the ground and actually see stars. When the stars finally disappear, I go outside to practice flying. After a few disastrous attempts, I figure out how to control my speed. However, it takes me a few hours to master direction and height, but by nightfall I'm cruising the countryside and doing flybys over the animal enclosures. That night I crawl into bed exhausted. Minecraft will never be the same with a superhero like me protecting the citizens of its servers. A brown cloud fills my head and I drift off to sleep. I wake before sunrise, too excited to sleep, so I decide to start my day early as a superhero. First task on hand is to repair my reputation in the village. Let's see how the villagers treat Super Steve this time. After a large bowl of beans, I make my way to the village, dodging mods along the way. I arrive before the sun comes up and climb the highest point in town. Atop the church, I adjust my big backpack and crouch down so I can't be seen. I want to make my first appearance to the villagers, one they'll never forget. Super Steve has got you covered, people. Soon a horde of zombies appears on the edge of town, making their way towards Main Street. I may have to step in if those zombies attack before the sun comes up and they burst into flames. A light goes on in the house closest to the hostile mob. An unsuspecting fisherman is ready for the day. The zombies approach the house and pound on the doors and walls. Through the window of the house, I see the fisherman and his family running around in circles, not sure what to do. With the sky still dark, I seize the moment and blast in the air with my fart power. I land in the center of the mob, slashing the zombies in the front with my iron sword while blasting the ones behind with my super farts. I start taking them out one by one. I made it through half the horde when the front door collapses and the zombies pour into the house. I blast a huge fart and launch myself on top of the house, knocking a hole in the roof with my sword upon my descent and landing in the middle of a small room, with zombies on one and panicking villagers on the other. I rip a stinker that fills the house with a smelly brown cloud. The zombies crash into each other, and as I scoop up a family of villagers and fly to the hole in the roof for safety. Placing the rescued villagers down the road, I run back into the house and take out the rest of the zombies. Amped up from saving villagers, I slash back and forth, shredding the zombies with my iron sword. When I come back outside, the villagers surround me and cheer. At least that's what I think their mumbling means. I spend the next hour shaking everyone's hand and placing various foods and goods they gave me into my big backpack. The blacksmith waves me over and presents me with a newly made diamond sword. I thank him and take a few steps back, swinging the sword as the crowd of villagers mumbles loudly. In all the excitement, I catch the freshly sharpened blade against my gas mask skin, cutting a hole in the legs of my pants. A loud hiss fills the shop. The farts are escaping. Within minutes, the blacksmith shop is completely filled with a farty fog. The villagers grimace over and cover their noses. A few children start to cry and everyone hurries out of the shop. I'd better get out of here. Before I can turn around, the cloud of noxious fumes reaches the blacksmith's fire and the building blows up. Everyone flies through the air, landing in a pile around the now destroyed fire building. The villagers are stunned. The blacksmith points to me and grunts. Within seconds, the villagers are throwing objects and running towards me. Apple flies through the air, barely missing me. I prepare a giant fart and launch myself back home. I'm being run out of town. Again. Even with the best gadgets in Minecraft, I still ruined everything. I guess the coolest stuff and the best intentions can only go so far. I rip off my ruined gas mask skin and shove it into my big backpack, and take a seat on the bed to plan my next move. Help me! Help me! I pop my head outside to better gauge the direction of the cries. Someone help! Yes, someone needs me. Oh no, someone's in trouble. The sound is coming from upriver, so I turn in that direction and blast off. A few minutes later, I come to a small but intricate cabin along the water. I lay near the front door and pull my sword out, ready for whatever lies on the other side of that door. I take a deep breath and smash through it, searching quietly through the cabin. I don't see anyone in distress, just an average cabin with similar stuff to my house. Bookcase, bed, chest, and a furnace in the living room, which is still warm. Whoever lives here, they must not be far. The voice is close, but definitely not inside the cabin. I go to the back porch and I hear it again. Hurry, before they kill me! I take flight and scour the countryside, following the cries for help. I spot an open hole in the ground nearby. Did someone fall down a trap? I land close, but not too close to the hole. Can't risk accidentally collapsing the roof on whoever's down there. Now the voice is as clear as day. It's a male voice that seems familiar. When I ask if he's okay, the guy says he's not hurt, but tied up and can't move. I lay down on my stomach and peer into the pit. Is that what I think it is? Inside the pit, there's an elevated island with another Steve sitting absolutely still on a chair. He's wearing a varsity Letterman's jacket, the kind of athletes wear, a customized skin only confident Steve could pull off. He tells me someone kidnapped him and tied him up down here. The same person's collecting spider jockeys to act as guards, holding Cool Steve hostage. I asked who kidnapped him, but Cool Steve didn't see the person's face. He asked me to hurry because the spider jockeys are getting closer. The deep cave is full of spider jockeys crawling all over the floor and lower parts of the wall, actively trying to figure out how to get to Cool Steve. I dig into the big backpack and pull out my string. Lowering it into the pit, I realize it won't be long enough to reach. I take stock of the rest of my inventory. Flint and steel, shield, pork chops, torches, my old iron sword. Nothing that will help me now. Soon my stinky senses start to tingle. It's actually my stomach growling. But it gives me an idea. Tearing into some beans, I'm soon ready to blast this cave with my fart power. I tell Cool Steve to hold his breath and breathe out of his mouth if the stench gets unbearable. Throwing on the mask portion of my gas mask skin, I sit on top of the hole as if it were a toilet to fill the cave with fart gas. I hear Cool Steve cough and tell him, but it'll only be a few more minutes. I can't breathe. Once I hear a few more of the spider jockeys fall to the ground, I jump down to the pit, using my farts to ensure a soft landing. Cool Steve grabs my second mask before I can even offer it to him. He looks as if he's passed out, but once again, he starts breathing the clean air from the respirator. He slowly regains consciousness. I cut through his binds with my diamond sword, being careful not to graze him. The half-conscious spider jockeys lay all around us. Suddenly, I'm knocked forward and land flat on my face. Cool Steve tells me I've just been shot. Still lying down, I look over my shoulder and see an arrow sticking out of my big backpack. Thankfully, my trusty pack took most of the damage, protecting me from injury. More arrows fly towards us. Cool Steve and I lie flat on our backs. Since we're on higher ground, thankfully all of them miss. I dig through my big backpack and pull out 4 fart bombs, 2 for Cool Steve and 2 for me. On the count of 3, we launch the fart bombs in opposite directions. The arrows suddenly stop, which we take as a sign that the big jockeys have passed out from the fart gas. Cool Steve grabs onto my big backpack and I rip a huge fart, flying us to safety and barely fitting through the hole in the pit's ceiling. Cool Steve runs inside his house, accessing his inventory. While I wait, I quickly build a small 5x5 room to change and put on my iron leggings, hoping I don't blow him out. No sense putting Cool Steve through my stink again. I take down the walls before he arrives back to the hole. Stand back! I back up while Cool Steve tosses a dozen TNT blocks down into the spider jockey infested pit. The ground shakes, but the cave's so deep the grass above isn't even damaged. That ought to take care of the mobs. Cool Steve places wood planks over the hole along with a sign that says danger. Now that things have settled down, I ask Cool Steve who kidnapped him. He hands me back my gas mask and tells me the villain wore a mask. But had a really excited laugh, mumbling something about setting a trap. Who was this new Minecraft villain setting a trap for? Could it be me? My question is answered when Cool Steve hands me a note nailed to his front door. Stinky Steve, your days are numbered. There's a new superhero in town. Your nemesis, the Burpinator. I ask Steve who the Burpinator is, but it's as clueless as I am. Cool Steve asks if I want to stick around and help him fill the cave, but I say no when I hear a cry off in the distance. Help me, I'm trapped! Cool Steve points to the note and reminds me this new cry for help could be a trap. He's right, but as a superhero, I have no choice but to respond. Duty calls. I grab a handful of beans and take off into the sky, trailing a brown cloud behind me. When I wave goodbye to Cool Steve, all I can make out through the brown cloud is Cool Steve covering his nose and mouth with the lapel of his leather jacket. It's a dirty job, but somebody's got to do it. That's actually a great catchphrase. As I scan the skyline, I hope the person on the other end of the cry for help isn't my new nemesis. I'll find out soon enough. This is now the epilogue. The spider jockeys have failed. I knew I shouldn't have trusted them to destroy Stinky Steve on their own. And the Steve I chose as a hostage was anything but cool. That's why much more thought went into finding my new victim. Super Steve doesn't have a chance in the new scenario. Goodbye, Super Steve. Captain Fart, whatever your name is. There's only one room for one superhero here in Minecraft, and it's not you. Get ready to meet your nemesis face to face. I mentioned that my powers come from my own Minecraft creation, not in a downloaded mod like yours. My powers are my own, thanks to the ingenious device that took me months to build. Nice, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Can you guess what incredible machine I made in my Minecraft world, Super Steve? I didn't think so. If you think fart power is strong, wait till you get a load of my secret weapon, because there's nothing more powerful than a burp. Especially when it comes from a girl.